This is Casper Van Dien, and you're listening to the Horror Squad podcast. You know what to do! Kill them all!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 375, where tonight we will be talking about 2025's Companion. We are unfortunately Steveless tonight. He is on vacation, so enjoying, I believe, the beaches of South Carolina here in the U.S., the good old U.S. of A. So hopefully you are enjoying that, Steve. But I am here, of course, with everyone's favorite.
Oh,
Big swinging old dick, Todd.
hello.
Yes,
Hi.
Todd.
How are you?
I think we both, last week, obviously we took last week off, but we did, of course, give you guys an episode.
Well, they don't know that,
anyway,
though.
they don't know that, but I'm letting them know now. We never try to miss a beat here. We always try to keep it, 100 for you guys, as the kids would say these days. But Todd, we both attended conventions, so why don't you let us know a little bit about your convention experience?
Yeah, man. Horror Hound Cincinnati, over here in Cincinnati, obviously. And, shout out once again to them for hooking us up with the press passes. Always a treat. Thank you very much, Horror Hound. Yeah, so I went Friday and Saturday with the homies, Brent and TJ. It's always a fun freaking event where we, spend the night, have a bro down, eat some food, watch movies, shit like that. But the con itself, so this is actually the first time maybe ever that I haven't gotten a signature at a con. That's probably wrong, but it feels like it. Because I just wasn't feeling the guests, right? And September though, of this year, it's gonna be fucking packed because it's 20-year anniversary of Horror Hound and Cincy. So everyone's assuming it's gonna be fucking like balls to the wall. But just go over a couple guests that they had there. Corey Taylor from Slipknot, Henry Winkler of Obvious fame, Ty West, David Howard Thornton, Linda Blair, which is probably the biggest horror guest in my opinion. And then a bunch of Slipknot people, some wrestlers, Shannon Elizabeth, Devin Sawa, and so on and so on. Highlight for me though was just shopping because I love, going to different booths and getting Blu-rays. Like shout out to Orbit, who's a really cool company that we talk to every time. Diabolic DVD, Severin, Vinegar Syndrome, all that crap. And then highlight celeb-wise was the Evil Dead remake panel with Jane Levy, what's his name, Shiloh Fernandez, and Lou Taylor Pucci, who I didn't know was a hardcore horror fan. So that was really fun hearing his thoughts and just giving insights to the movie. And it made me want to watch it again, which I haven't done yet. But um, yeah, so it's a great fucking weekend, man. But like shockingly, it was super crowded Friday night. Like generally, that's like kind of slow. And we thought, all right, so since it's all like, Slipknot or the major pulls this weekend, there's not gonna be a lot of people in the vendor hall because you could get in their lines, things like that. But gosh, man, Friday night, of course we got in early, but after that, it was just fucking, nut to butt, elbow to elbow, BO, fucking people coughing and shit like that. So of course I still had a good time, but man, horror is at its peak, dude. It's fucking insane. And not
Yeah.
not to sell them short. It's just not my cup of tea right now. The rest of I love like the smaller actors, like Ricky from Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Harry Warden from My Bloody Valentine. I like those guys and meeting them, getting their signatures. But like besides the big ones that I named, it was all just Terrifier people from like one little small like party scene. There's a guy. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here, man? Like, I guess get your money, but it was just Terrifier up the ass, and it's just insane. But
Yeah.
I had a good time, and I know you had one too. So how was yours?
Yeah.
And you might be coming out for Hound in September,
I
hopefully.
would, yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I'm skipping Texas this year, so that definitely, yeah. Horrorhound's always been on my list of ones I've wanted to go to. So I would, and this being Horrorhound 20,
Yeah,
that
it's
would
gonna be
be
sweet.
definitely amazing. And they're definitely one of the OG horror conventions out there.
Yeah.
So definitely want to try to make it. As far as mine, I would say it was a David Howard Thornton with the longest line all weekend.
No,
Would you
I
say?
think Saturday was the wrestler, which I'm not. Her name's Paige, I think.
Oh yeah,
Paige,
yeah,
Paige
yeah.
something, Sarara or something like that.
Soraya, she goes by
Saraya.
now. She used to be in WWE. I think she was like they made a movie about her actually with Simon Pegg. Sam and I
Okay.
watched it. It was actually really, really good
Yeah,
about sort of her story. But yeah, I think she became like the youngest women's wrestling champion ever. So
cool. Yeah,
she's a big
she
deal.
was she was a
Yeah.
big pull, and then yeah, I
Corey
mean,
Taylor, I'm sure
Core
too.
Taylor,
Yeah.
Henry Winkler had huge lines, things like that. But
Linda Blair too.
Linda
I'm
Blair
sure
did
a big
too.
one.
Yeah, and you know what? Shouts out to oh, I forget his name, but the brother in the Terrifier series. He had a steady line the entire weekend, so that guy's like pulling it in. So good for him.
Yeah, he has a really big social media following, so that
Nice.
definitely helps him. Yeah, so I attended Monster Mania a couple of weekends ago. It's one of my personal favorite horror conventions I go every year. It's a huge convention as well. I would say very similar to Horror Hound, although I haven't been to a Horror Hound. I would say it definitely has the notoriety on the East Coast that like Horror Hound does. Yeah, I mean, it was I would say like guest list wise, it was, I mean, they had some big, huge names, obviously Gina Davis, Susan Sarandon, Tobin Bell. But after that, like there wasn't a lot for me out there. There were some Terrifier people, obviously Lauren Lavera and Elliot Fullman, who you just mentioned was this one as well. And then after that, they had a big Return of the Living Dead reunion, which was pretty cool. But yeah, so I met Tobin Bell on Friday. Once again, just absolutely another convention. Like you said, Horror's at its peak, so the convention was slammed Friday and Saturday. Saturday especially, obviously, that's always the big day. But yeah, I got Tobin on Friday. Luckily, I had VIP, so I was able to use my line skips for Tobin Bell on Friday, so I only waited maybe 15, 20 minutes for him. But his line, both Friday and Saturday, when I got there at 10 a.m., people were already in line for him. And the con didn't even open until 4 o'clock. So,
That's
and then
wow, man. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, wild. Yeah, absolutely wild. So he definitely had the biggest line of the entire weekend. Followed, I would say, probably by Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis, although they moved their lines really quick. But yeah, Tobin was great. I've met him before, so it was kind of like whatever for me. He's still a super nice guy. Was interacting with the fans and stuff. Kept the line going at a pretty good clip. But man, Gina Davis on Saturday, she was great, really nice. She was blown away by my poster. I thought which was pretty cool. Had her sign next to Brundlefly, of course. And then I also added her to. I have a handbook of the recently deceased that Alec Baldwin signed, so I was pretty pumped to get that signed. But man, this is like we've talked about this in the past, and I'll try to keep it brief. But just like she was 100, but for her 8x10s on her table, but anything else was an extra $20. So I brought my own items and it was an extra $20 per item. So instead of it costing me, $200 to get two things signed, it cost me $240
So
to get two things
no
signed. That was my
cost,
own shit.
no cost to her at all. She's not losing any money. She's losing ink
No.
from her
Yeah.
pen.
Yeah.
Like, I
Exactly.
don't understand it, dude. I just,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It's I don't get it
It's fucking
either.
insane,
Alec
man.
Baldwin was the same exact thing when I met him, and yeah, it's getting insane. And plus, like, man, yeah, the whole combo thing, obviously, these days has gotten insane too. It's like if you're getting an autograph, you should get a photo free with the celebrity. But literally, every single celebrity now has combo pricing too. So if you want to get a photo with them too, it's extra and stuff. But it is what it is. It's the way it's going, the cons these days. But Gina was cool. She was very gracious, very nice. Got a photo op with her as well. Sawcast, I got a photo op with Tobin and Shawnee Smith together, which was cool. Also met Tarman from Return of the Living Dead, Alan Trotman. That's actually the first con I've ever attended that he's been at, so I was excited to get him. He's on the poster, so I was able to add him to the poster. And then I met Lauren Lavera, of course, our new final girl, Sienna from Terrifier 3. Who's super cool. But the best part of the weekend is that Sam and my friends surprised me with sort of like a surprise birthday party in the hotel room. Sam got me a Terrifier cake made up. I think I posted it in the Discord. It's really cool. And then they surprised me with, man, I was like eyeing, there was some, I mean, the vendors, they were really cool, but there was one item in particular that I was so close to buying, both Friday and early Saturday that they ended up buying and surprising me with. But it's an original Nightmare on Elm Street, like VHS, like coming soon to VHS, like little sort of video store, like flat display. It's
Like
really
a
awesome.
marquee
It was
kind of
framed
sign.
up. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
yeah. I'll
sick.
show you. I'll show you after we record. But yeah, It's like, yeah, sort of almost. I feel like they would have it at like the front, almost like the front of the video store to
Hmm.
advertise that it's coming out soon, whatever. But yeah,
Cool.
it's an original one from, like 1985 or four or whatever. So it was really, really awesome. So that was cool. Yeah. Great weekend though. Great Monster Mania. They do them every March, August, and now they have a new one in November that I attend sometimes. That one's out in Oaks, Pennsylvania, but this one's was in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. So if you could never hit a Monster Mania, I definitely recommend it. And I'm sure you recommend it for same for Horror Hound as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully,
I would
you
love to
know,
come out, honestly,
we can
to
hit those up.
hit one of those, but Salem always
Hmm.
kind of takes that
I know.
section of the year
I
around,
know.
so we'll get it eventually. But
Yeah, eventually for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Also, before we get in, I should also mention we have an interview tonight as well. We were so excited. We're trying to rush through this episode because without Steve on here, we're a little limited on time. But I should also mention at the very end of this episode, we do have an interview with Jeff DePaoli. He is the founder of Wicked New England, which I am going to be helping out with hosting some panels and stuff. You know, in recognition of the Horror Squad podcast. So, Wicked New England will be an event in Salem, Massachusetts. You'll hear all about it. It's May 3rd, a halfway to Halloween festival. So you'll hear everything about it at the very end of this episode. All right, Todd.
very cool.
Let's not waste any time and get into some horror news. Also, I don't think there'll be much editing in this episode without Steve. We are not a well-oiled machine, so you're gonna get what you're gonna get in this episode, folks. So let's start it right off with the big news, and that is our boy John Carpenter will finally be getting his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You will be able to watch it. I believe they are going to be streaming it online. So it is going to be April 3rd at 11:30 in the morning. Finally, the time has come for our man John Carpenter, just an absolute legend of the game, and a huge congratulations to him for finally getting his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I
Uh,
mean, how could he
Odds are,
not?
yeah, odds are pretty high that someone will be Michael Myers in the background of that, right? Just
It's got to be, right?
for a photo
Gotta
op or
be.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'd be
I'm sure
it'd
he'll
be
love
awesome if they
that
put
too.
him next to Jamie Lee Curtis, but oh yeah. I know he's a grumpy old man, but there'll be a ton of pictures with people dressed like Michael
Yeah,
Myers with the net. I've seen some with Jamie Lee Curtis, and now John will be even bigger, and
that's cool.
hopefully someone can put like a Norris spider head or something next to
That'd be
his
sick.
star too. He'd probably appreciate that even more. I feel like he probably just like despises Michael Myers at this point. Like even though it basically put him on the map, but
Yeah.
at this point he's probably so done with it. It's pretty funny. All right, let's get into the next bit of news here, and that is a little update on our boy, the Toxic Avenger, a movie that was deemed unreleasable and unmarketable by the studio is finally gonna see the light of day. Of course, it was in pretty much post-development hell for the past couple of years, but finally, it is going to be released in theaters August 29th, 2025, and they actually gave us a little sneak peek. I know there was like a lot of course, they gave us the actual reveal of Peter Dinklage as the Toxic Avenger. There was a lot of strong opinions, I would say, about that. And then he actually appeared at the dyeing of the river there in Chicago. They were dye the river green on St. Patrick's Day, and Toxie made an appearance, which I thought was great marketing. But they did release a clip of the movie, and I gotta say, after seeing this clip, I am extremely excited for this movie. It looks like they captured the trauma essence of it almost perfectly for a movie with like a higher budget. I think you watched it too, Todd. Any thoughts?
Yeah, as far as Toxie goes, I'm not really in love with it, honestly, his look. But that could just
Yeah,
be because I haven't seen the movie yet. And yeah, to answer your question, the trailer I think intrigued me more than anything. As long as I just want this one line. I love the scene in the original where they go, the dudes go in the diner to rob it, and they're like, "Oh look, teeny boppers!" Like I hope they have that scene, and I hope they have that quote. Um, and yeah, man, I'm excited. Like I'm also eager to see like why was it unreleasable? Like did it suck ass? Was it over the top?
hmm
Was it like offensive? If it's offensive over the top, like let's do it.
yeah. I think that's 100% why. And it's like, and if people have ever seen, The Toxic
Oh
Avenger,
yeah.
how could you not like expect that? So, I mean, I think studios were just like, oh yeah, Peter Dinklage, like Elijah Wood, like this is going to be like a fun horror movie. And then it seems like they went like full trauma, like on it and really like, paid good, homage to the original. And then the studio's like, oh fuck, we can't release this. This is too fucking
Yeah.
like cheesy and gory, but we'll see. Very
Kaufman definitely
excited.
has a cameo, right? In this,
He
pretty
has
confident.
to. If he
Yeah.
doesn't, it would. I feel like if he doesn't, it'd be like disrespectful. Honestly, I mean, the
Yeah.
man like he created it. I think he sold out over the rights for it and everything. So he's got to be in here some way somehow. Did you see him actually at Horror Hound? He was there, right, kicking
No,
around.
he was supposed to be there. Wasn't there Friday. Wasn't there
Hmm.
Saturday. And then
What the hell?
I overheard him saying like, "Yeah, he'll get here at like 2:30." Wasn't there at 2:30? So I'm like, "Fuck it."
Nah, bummer.
He's
He was
older
definitely
dude.
there because I saw some pictures of
Oh,
people
he
with him.
probably
So
yeah
he was there some at some point, but
made an
yeah,
appearance.
apparently he's getting old. Yeah, he's getting old, but. All right. Next bit of news here is a big one. This is maybe our biggest news of the entire week, and that is that in kind of a shocker, Saw 11 very well may be dead in the water, ladies and gentlemen. And after sort of the success of Saw 10, it was almost like a resurgence, bringing back Tobin Bella's Jigsaw. We all enjoyed it a lot, and it did really well in theaters. So they're like, let's roll it back. We're making a Saw 11. It was confirmed. It was supposed to come out, I think, late last year. And then it ended up going off, and they're like, oh, well, we're going to push it. It's going to be a little later. Well, now, according to sources from Bloody Disgusting, this is a direct quote from the source. It's totally dead. It's 100% over. It's been like that for almost a year now. The source went on to say everything went sideways of January of 2024. The producers started fighting. One producer attempted to plow forward with the film, while the other put up roadblocks, essentially stifling Saw 11's production. Currently, there's not much else to say. But apparently, this disagreement has really put an end, essentially, to any semblance of Saw 11. Do we believe this? Do we not? I don't know. It seems to me, I think it seems credible for sure, considering it was supposed to come out last year. It got delayed, and we haven't heard anything about it since. So I think it's a bummer to me because I think Saw 10 was heading this franchise back in the right direction. But at the end of the day, they made 10 of them. Is it the end of the world if we don't get a Saw 11 either?
Yeah, it's a bummer, but mostly because Tobin Bell's 80 something, man. And
82.
yeah, I mean, obviously a great career, long life, but you don't how time's a motherfucker, So it sucks that we're not utilizing him. But Saw X cost 13 mil and made 112 worldwide. That's a fucking
That's
smash
crazy.
hit, dude. Like,
Smash
so
it.
you're not gonna throw out another 12, 15 mil and make another one and make profit? I don't get it because these fucking assholes are arguing about whose dick is bigger or something. I don't get it, man. But I love the series and I'm happy where it's at. And this just might be another thing 3, 4 years from now where they reboot the whole fucking thing and we got Jigsaw worshippers like they tried to do with what was that Jigsaw and yeah, it was Jigsaw, right? Copycats.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I don't know. It's a bummer, but it is what it is. I'm glad I got to meet him like you did, so it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll keep you up to date, but yeah, like Todd said, Tobin's not getting any younger, and I mean, I if they don't get this figured out within the next year, I mean, the movie's a cash cow, like you said. I mean, that's crazy. I didn't realize it did that well. So
Yeah, killed
maybe
it,
they
man.
can maybe they can try to come together and figure something out, but it's not looking good for the Saw franchise.
Yeah.
All right, just two more stories to get through here. Another massive story that broke is that Netflix is teaming up with Darren Aronofsky, who you may know from Requiem for a Dream, Black Swan, Mother, and also the Oscar-winning The Whale most recently. Well, he is teaming up with Netflix to do a remake of Stephen King's classic Cujo. Um, if this wasn't Darren Aronofsky, I probably would be like, yeah, whatever. But the fact it's him, I think, gives massive, uh, you know, I can't think of the right
Like
word right
credibility
now,
to it.
but credibility. Yeah, I think it gives massive credibility to this project. And I'm super excited now for this. I think Cujo was great, obviously, from, B. Wallace was amazing in it. Does it have potential though to be even better? I think so.
I agree with you. I think it absolutely has a high ceiling. And it's I love seeing these fucking big time directors taking on these horror projects, man. So, um, yeah, let's get after it. I'm excited for that. Although,
Yeah.
you think they're gonna do the same dog? I mean, not same dog, obviously, but like same breed or
Saint Bernard?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I think you have to, right? I mean, if you're
yeah,
gonna be adapting the novel, I think it has to be a Saint Bernard
not a poodle,
again. I just
poodle or
Now,
weenie dog.
I think you got to go Saint Bernard just because that's what the classic called for. I guess you could change it up, but I wouldn't. I would stay with the Saint
Yeah,
Bernard, just because it's sort of a lovable dog in a lot of ways. It's kind of like like a big lovable dog, and
yeah.
turning that into sort of an evil thing. It's like, please though, make it practical. Do
Oh
not try to
gosh,
make a
please,
CGI dog or something like that.
please. Oh yeah. I don't
Could
think
you
he will.
imagine?
Oh,
I know,
it's just dog shit.
God, but yeah. Another exciting remake news, although maybe not horror, but something I know we're all going to be super excited for is Neil Blomkamp is apparently going to be directing a new Starship Troopers movie, which is fucking. I think he's perfect for it, right? He did District 9, which is just like an amazing
Great.
action movie, and I mean. Starship Troopers, it's time. I mean, it's an amazing. The first film is so amazing. The sequels were some were better than others, but I think it's time to right the ship and make another absolute kick-ass Starship Troopers movie. And I think he's the perfect director to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Neil is awesome. I mean, Chappie and District 9 and whatever the other one was. But he has been rumored and, signed on to projects numerous times. RoboCop was supposed to be his. Aliens was supposed to be his. Everyone was pumped. Halo was supposed to be his. And then they just fucking die. And it's like, stop teasing us, Neil. Like, please, if it starts with Troopers, like, fuck yes, man. Because, like you said, Starship Troopers 2 and 3, and the fourth one, I think, is animated. Fucking suck, dude. So bring back Johnny
Mhm.
Rico, make him fucking Captain Rico or some shit. You got military dudes fighting bugs and make it bloody as fuck. It writes itself. Please, for the love of God, Neil, make it. But I don't know. We'll see.
That's a good question. Do you think they should bring back like Casper Van
Oh,
Dien and
hell
some
yeah,
of the
dude.
original cast?
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he's really
Yeah.
big in the game right now. Like he goes online Twitch and
Yeah.
they paid him to play it or some shit. But I mean, we've talked to him, we've
Yeah.
met him a few times, and he's fucking great, dude. So yeah, absolutely have to
Yeah.
bring it back to Johnny.
I'm excited, and I hope for sure they bring him back because we actually interviewed. You
Yeah.
weren't on that episode when we interviewed him, but he just bleeds that franchise. Like he has so much love for that franchise, and I remember him talking about how Robert Rodriguez was signed on to
Oh,
do a Starship Troopers movie,
that would
which
have
would
been
have been
so good.
fucking amazing, and they were like so close and ended up falling through. But I
Wasn't it
think
COVID that
like
fucked it too?
I think so. I'd
Fucking
have to go
COVID,
back and
dude.
listen to
Son of
that
a
interview.
bitch.
But I remember us like discussing it. And I was so sad, being like, "Oh my God, that would have been like the best." But I think Neil Blomkamp is like the second best director I can think of, like after Rodriguez,
Yeah.
to do it right. So very very exciting. And yeah, I guess we'll leave it off as there. I have a couple more stories, but I'll save it for next week. But I'll tease it. Possibly some big Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Ooh,
franchise news.
love that
And I'll
franchise.
leave that as a tease. I'll leave that as a tease for when we have a little more time for horror news in a couple weeks.
Speaking of
So we'll
teases,
leave it at that. Ooh,
speaking of
yes.
teases, the final
Play with the
episode,
balls.
we got a little uptick in, yeah, we got to, you got to dingle the balls right now. You got to tickle 'em. We got a little uptick in donations. So once I get all the stuff sorted out, anytime someone donates, I email them, say thank you, and ask like specific questions. So there's a couple shout outs that are pending. If you bought the shout out perk, please respond to my email so we can get you shouted out properly on this. So we're moving, man. We're wheeling and dealing.
Chugging along.
Yep.
Chugging along. Mask. I actually emailed him about the mask. I think it's coming within. He's in the paint shop.
Okay.
So he's
That
going to be
motherfucker
coming.
needs to
He's
get
going
on
to
it.
come within the next. He's going to be coming within the next week or two, according to the owner of. I got in touch with the owner of the
We
company,
need
so it's
that. We
coming.
need that for you because that's the
Kind
big
of
part.
important. Kind of important.
It's only like the,
All right.
main thing.
Yeah. Right. All righty. Well, thank you everyone that's donated to the final episode. We cannot wait to finally get that out into the world for you guys, and yeah, we're chugging along. All right, Todd. I think it is about time now for our main event of the evening, 2025's Companion, directed by Drew Hancock and starring Harvey Guillen, Megan Suri, Lucas Gage, Jack Quaid, and Sophie Thatcher as Iris. Plot: a weekend getaway with friends at a remote cabin turns into chaos after it's revealed that one of the guests is not what they seem.
Oh,
Probably how they
okay.
should have left it, like even in
Yes.
the trailers, instead of
Yes.
just giving away the movie, which we'll
Mhm.
get into. But Todd, why don't you get into a little more of Companion?
Yeah. I'm mad. I'm mad about this, how you market this movie, fellas, because this is not the way. And I'm sure the director didn't have any say in how they marketed this, but man, did they kind of ruin some twists and turns for him, which sucks ass. But we start off in the film and we are watching Miss Sophie Thatcher of Heretic fame, which Joe and I loved. And she's walking down the grocery store aisles, and just having a little monologue. It's, I'm like, oh, I'm liking this already. She runs into Jack Quaid, who, question for you, Joe. Jack Quaid, horror actor now? Like 100%? He's getting there.
Yeah, I think he's well on his way. Absolutely, between Scream and this now,
And
and
he has
I
another
can't
one
always
out.
see Novocaine. Novocaine looks really fun
Yeah. Is that a horror
as
movie too,
well.
or
Does
is
he
it
have another
just
horror movie? No, not horror movie. It's like an action
oh, okay?
type movie, but
Does
looks
he have
cool.
a
He's definitely the big up and coming actor right now,
yeah,
and
he's
yeah,
good.
he's definitely on his way. I would call him a horror actor at this point for sure.
Cool. Well, they run into each other at the supermarket, and it turns out this is their first meeting. They're a little awkward. He drops some oranges and shit, and they fall in love. Flash forward, they're going on a little road trip to their friend's mountain getaway mansion thingamabobber, and she has some social anxieties, man. She's like, when they're walking up to the door, she's like, I don't want to go in there, like blah blah blah. He's like, Iris, chill, like hang out with me, blah blah blah. She's like, all right, cool. Goes in there, and then they have a blast, right? We have a gay couple, Lucas Gage and Harvey Guillen, who you would know from What We Do in the Shadows as, oh my God, what's the fucking name? What We Do in the Shadows? Guillermo.
Guillermo.
There you go.
Mhm.
There's a gay couple there that they're friends with. There's this girl. She's like the rich, hot one, and then there's this fucking random Russian dude that's like her boyfriend. And it turns out the Russian guy might be the mob or some shit. We don't know. Um, so we're following along. There's a couple like weird things here, like characters do odd things where you're like, what's that all about? I don't know. Oh, I forgot to mention too, earlier, like right in the beginning, she has a monologue. She's like, something about like the best day of my life was when I met um my boyfriend, who Jack Quaid, and then second best is when I killed him or something like that. And then we get to the moment like where I was talking about where she goes to the house. Anyway, she goes down to the beach the next day, and the Russian goes down there and attempts to sexually assault her, which she defends herself and kills him. And then a series of events fucking they come out. And now we're following these characters as they're trying to deal with it. Forewarned, if you haven't seen the film, don't listen to this because this was a movie that you shouldn't watch a trailer for, shouldn't read a synopsis for, because there's a lot of clues out there in the world that will spoil it for you. So go ahead and watch the movie and then come back and listen to us. But yeah, Joe, I managed to not see any trailers because I think he told me not to. And then I went to the service to like push play, and it fucking spoiled the shit out of it by saying, um, lead character is a robot or something. I'm like, what? Like, you fucking assholes, why'd you do this to me? But I still love the movie. I liked it a lot. I would have, okay, I'll rephrase that. I liked the movie a lot. I think I would have loved it if I didn't have that spoiler. Because when it comes and you're like, holy shit, okay, all this little weird shit makes sense. Especially when he's like, go to sleep, Iris. That's like means something else once you know what's going on. So I like the twists and turns. I love the acting in it, and I was really into the film, so I'm glad I watched it. You?
Yeah, man, I'm 100% agree. Like I remember the first time I saw the original trailer, which was, I mean, like fantastic. It's how every trailer after that should have been. They kept it very, very mysterious, didn't reveal anything. And then they unleashed the second trailer, which completely spoiled the fact that she was a robot. And I'm like, oh man, like, why would you give away sort of the biggest plot twist in the entire movie, like in the trailer? It made no sense to me at all, and it was very annoying. But man, I think it's a testament to how good the movie is that they could spoil it, and I still really really like the movie. The movie definitely keeps you guessing. Obviously, there's other twists and turns which we can get into throughout the movie. That kind of keeps you on your toes and keeps you guessing. But yeah, man, I mean, Sophie Thatcher is amazing in this as Iris, and Jack Quaid is great in this as well. And I thought all of the other side characters were really fun as well throughout I mean, really, essentially, it's only like 4 or 5 characters the entire movie, and they all do such a great job of sort of carrying it. Obviously, the movie explores like interesting things involving AI, which couldn't be more, prevalent in these days. And I think we're getting closer and closer to a Iris situation being real. But yeah, man, I really really enjoyed this movie as well. I just wish they didn't spoil, their biggest sort of reveal so early, because I go in, I actually did end up seeing, I saw this in theaters, and going in, like, I'm watching it and I'm like, yeah, all right, she's like, I already know she's the robot. And I'm like, man, had that, you don't find out that reveal until whatever it is, 30, 40 minutes into the movie after the murder. Like, it would have been like, holy shit, that's fucking crazy, And,
Yeah.
to me, it's still a great movie, but, and I think it could have been like near like top of the year had that been revealed, for me after.
I agree, man. And it sucks. Sorry, did you watch it a second time or just that one time in the theater?
Just the one time
Okay. Yeah,
so far.
I haven't watched it again either. And I'm wondering if it's could be one of those movies where where you know the twist, like exactly what a twist is, like, oh, you're gonna see like little sprinkles of stuff in there, that you wouldn't know
Sure.
otherwise. So looking forward to
Mhm.
seeing it again, but gosh, man, fucking trailers. This is why I don't watch them, and I still got fucked by reading the description, but here we are. Um,
hmm
Sophie Thatcher,
I
man, we talked.
liked.
Go ahead.
She was great. I mean, I was just gonna go into a talking point. I did like that. That wasn't the only sort of twist we get. Obviously, we get the twist that really, we find out that Jack Quaid is actually a bad guy,
Mhm.
and that he turned off. I liked that idea, turning off, sort of being able to hack your sex robots thing in order to kill this guy, and
Steal his money.
which I thought was a great twist too. But in order to steal his money, and sort of all the other friends were kind of in on it. I thought that was a great little twist that they threw in there, and it wasn't one I saw coming at all.
I didn't either. And then I didn't see, I don't know about you, but I didn't see that Guillermo's boyfriend was a robot either.
Yeah,
And
Lucas
then,
Gage's character, who Smile 2, who those of you who've seen Smile 2,
oh yeah, smashed
big
his face
character
in,
in that
right?
as well. Yep, yep.
Nice.
Horror
Yeah, I didn't.
actor.
Do we got a bunch of horror actors? Guillermo's in
Yeah.
here, horror actor.
Yep.
Thatcher, she just did Heretic, horror actress.
Thatcher's like, yeah, I mean, and Yellow Jackets,
Hmm.
she's doing as well. And yeah, I mean, she's definitely she's like entering, I would say, like she's heading in that direction of
Yeah.
a, Jenna Ortega type right now, sort of the new it girl in horror.
Hmm. Which I would honestly prefer over Jenna Ortega, performances wise,
Hmm
that I've seen.
Sure.
Not that Jenna
Yeah.
Ortega's
I
bad or
think she's
anything,
a
but
better actress.
yeah.
Both good actresses, but I like Sophie Thatcher better, I would say too.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see Guillermo's boyfriend being a robot, which was a nice touch. And
Yeah, that was a nice twist too.
mhm. And I'm like, how many fucking sex bots are there? So it turns out that originally only Jack Quaid and like the rich chick were in on it because she told
hmm
Jack that he was in the mob, which wasn't true. So Jack went along with it, saying like, "Oh, he's a piece of shit. Let's steal his money by having my cyber girlfriend kill his ass, and then we can just, tell the police that she malfunctioned." But you know, she has her inhibitions turned off, so now she's much smarter because you can set the bot to be stupid, which he had her at like 20% or something. She put it up to 100. So now she's like stealing cell phones, altering her code, her parameters, and now she's like, "Fuck this. I'm like, we're going out. Like, I'm gonna kill some motherfuckers." So I thought that was cool too. Like her revenge arc was pretty nice.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that part of her arc too. Yeah, I mean it was great. Like that the fact that she like is able to sort of control her own destiny. I mean, it turned into almost a crazy Terminator type situation. It was which was cool, and I loved that sort of she got the other robots involved. I mean, it was interesting because like I was like going back and forth in my head because I'm like while I'm watching, I'm like, is this a horror movie? Like, and I found myself, I feel like there's enough there, but at the end of the day, it was definitely more leaning. I felt like sci-fi, but I think there's enough to call it a horror movie. But I could also, if like someone like came at me and was like, "Dude, that's not a horror movie," I'd be like, "I guess you're right." I don't.
Yeah, I think it's close enough to go either way, but it's definitely going
I
to be
I
on my
agree.
my top of the year list. Maybe a lower end, seeing how
Mhm.
if I don't know actually. We'll see how the year plays out. It's only March 24th here, so
March, right?
um, how do you feel about when Jack Quaid? So Guillermo dies, right? I,
Yes.
and then Jack Quaid steals his phone and then reprograms his boyfriend to love Jack Quaid so he can send him on a mission to
Yeah.
kill fucking Iris.
I
Um,
loved it.
you loved it?
Like I said, it was like a T1000 situation.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I thought it was great, and I also love like all the sort of things we got along the way, like how you connect. We got sort of the backstories of how like they all met their robots and stuff, and how like it's the same exact sort of story, and it just sort of
Mhm.
goes back and forth, and sort of Jack meeting Iris for the first time and stuff. There's actually one thing we haven't even mentioned is like the comedy in this movie too, because there's like a lot of bits of comedy in this movie sprinkled throughout, and I actually felt most of the comedy worked really well too. But yeah, like as far as sort of being able to hack into sort of these systems and controlling the robots, I mean, it makes sense. But the fact that the AI can sort of eventually outsmart you, yeah, man, it really did feel like an upgraded, or like not an upgraded, but like an updated sort of love story Terminator thing. And I was down for all of it.
Yeah. No, I was into it too. And I thought the comedy worked as well, especially when Jack Quaid converts the gay robot to like him. And then it's like over the top
Yeah.
likes him. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. I also thought it was really interesting that she's like, I have memories, motherfucker, of like meeting you for the first time in
Yeah.
the supermarket, and we learned that the opening scene was just bullshit. Like you got to pick
Hmm.
from like a series of like predetermined meetings or whatever. For example, Guillermo and his boyfriend met at like a costume party. And so when Jack
Hmm.
Quaid converts him to liking Jack Quaid instead of Guillermo, then we see the new version of that scene play out, and it's pretty funny. Um, but why do you think Jack Quaid had to get a fucking cyber girlfriend, man? Like he's not bad looking dude, neither is Guillermo, so they're just striking out in the love field and gotta pay for it, I guess.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, some people are socially awkward, but also, like, I think it's, man, like, why try if I can literally have, like, a person at, like, essentially my beck and call that is
Yeah.
going to love me unconditionally, almost like a dog does, you know what I mean? And it's like, and like, they're never going to fight with you. They're never
No
going
cheating.
to not love you. I mean, because, like, I also like that arc too, because, like, Jack Quaid like didn't give a fuck about Iris, right? She was literally just a fuck robot to
Right.
him that he can just do whatever to. Whereas like Guillermo's, like he like legitimately
He
like
loved
was
him.
in love with that. Yeah, like
Yeah.
they had like a legitimate relationship where he didn't like treat it like a robot as well. And I think that's what would happen in real life too if, if robot lovers became a thing. And then like there was also the interesting, the other character there, I forget her name, but how she was sort of jealous of Iris because she's like, you're basically gonna like replacing us
Yeah.
essentially. And it becomes like an interesting thing because it's like, okay, you'll have male and female ones, but it's like, man, I don't know. It's really bizarre because it's like, well, what happens to our society and our world if that was real? And like it's that realistic where like could robots be out in the world and you wouldn't even know like they were robots, and I guess, like I don't know, like I don't know what their internal things like could you figure out they're a robot? Because like in this world, it seems like you would have no fucking clue, like
Yeah.
unless you're the controller.
Yeah, it's definitely if like questionable, man. Like you said, I know it's a movie, but like
Like, do you think we have robots out there
right now,
today? Like, yeah, do you think like we could be walking down the street and there could be a robot like that out there that's being tested by like the government or by somebody?
oh man, we can get into some weeds here, dude. I is it possible? Yes. Do I think it's happening?
Yeah.
No. But
No.
it'd be fucking sick if it was. It's kind of like Ex Machina, dude, that came out
Yeah.
Alex Garland a few years ago.
Great movie.
Great
Yeah.
fucking movie. This is like a great companion piece, no pun intended,
It
to
is.
each
Yep.
other. I don't know. It's like I think our society might be better, dude. If people, because a lot of people are angry that they feel left out or they feel they're weird and people
Sure.
don't like them, and um, for various reasons, whether it's mental instability or whatever, like can't really fit
Hmm.
into society. So if they have someone that like loves them, like plays
Yeah.
video games with them, watch movies, fucking plays with their ding dong, like honestly, it might be better for everybody.
It's weird, but I kind of, yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you, right? Like, I feel like there might be like less
A lot of anger would
violence
go
in
away.
the
Yeah,
world. Yeah. Like, if like someone could just be there with you who's like a companion,
right.
but also like a therapist,
Mhm.
like, in like so many different avenues.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think it definitely could be good, especially for those people that really are mentally unstable that just sort of need that sort of love
yeah.
and that partner
Need to be
for
coddled or
them.
something.
Yeah, I mean, also I think like suicide rates would probably go down too and
Right.
whatnot because like a lot of people just like they're like I'll never be accepted in this world, and you have someone that will accept you and love you unconditionally,
Yeah.
like Iris did because we saw what Jack Quaid, was basically treating her like a piece of shit, and she still was like all she wanted was his acceptance and love.
Right. Now, is it a
It's
little weird
crazy.
still? Sure, but he also had
Sure,
her at
yeah,
like 20% smart or whatever.
right,
So
yes, yeah.
that's the
He like
problem.
wanted her to be stupid.
Yeah, subservient. That's the problem I would have with it though in real life because did you ever watch Westworld? Like any of Westworld?
No.
Well, I mean
Mm-mm.
it's the same kind of premise where, you go into this existing world, in this case Westworld, where it's like, Western town or whatever, and most of the characters are robots, and then you get to play out your, cowboy fantasies. You can kill them, bang them, things like that. So I think the problem would arise is like mistreatment of the robots, like,
Mhm.
rape and murder, which is it rape and murder if they're a robot? But they they
Right.
they have feelings, but is it just programming? And I think that's when we get into the fucking like morality or not
The dark
morality,
shit.
but
Yeah.
yeah, being fucking
Well,
yeah,
it is morality though, because it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, they are robots, but they do have brains and like you
right.
think they have feelings, but do they? Like, yeah, it does. You're right. Yeah,
I think
it's a very gray area.
it's kind of like when you talk to a smart device and you say thank you to it just out of
Yeah.
habit of wanting to be
Hmm.
respectful, but then you'll have those people that we talked about wanting acceptance, but then we have those people that would be fucking just animals.
Yeah.
So
No,
I don't know.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Slippery
Chappie,
slope.
yeah. And like another movie, like
Mhm.
Chappie's another one, and District 9 were like very like
Yeah.
similar in a
Chappie's
lot of
fucking
ways to
sick.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, District. Yeah. But
I
so what, no, go for it.
no, I thought it was funny that he's like, you're I don't even own you, you're a rental. Like
Right.
to
Yeah, I
hire
know
him,
you
like you
like
fucking
leased it.
poor
Yeah.
bastard. Like, what are you doing, man? You can
I don't think they would, there's no way they would rent those things out
no,
though,
hell
right?
no.
Like
That'd be
it would
full of
have
jizz,
like,
dude.
yeah. Right. Like STDs and shit, man. Like
I
I get,
know.
but I guess it's
You get a
a real
secondhand one
real
for
life,
like
I
half
guess.
off.
Right. Yeah, because like I mean, what would those things even cost?
Oh,
Like
like
you're
a
talking
fuck ton of
hundreds of
money.
thousands of dollars. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah. But
Unless in
I
this world, like the tech is easy and they're
the
like
tech is
not a
so
lot.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because they have the cars that drive themselves. Although we do have cars that drive ourselves nowadays, but it's
Right.
heading in. But
We'll get there. And
yeah,
dude, they're developing these sex bots. Have you seen some of the crazy
oh
shit online?
yeah, I've seen some crazy videos. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the Boston Robotics, especially like those dogs that almost look like the dogs from that fucking what was that Black Mirror episode?
Oh,
Like
yeah, yeah.
essentially those have been created. Like
And
you
they're
know.
fucking with them in those videos, dude. It's like
Yeah,
stop
they are, and
stop
people like
fucking with
feel
them.
bad. Yeah, yeah, which like leads us to the moral thing of like, yeah, what we were just talking about. It's like, like yeah, I watch a video where they're pushing these robots down and
Yeah,
like getting back up, and you kind of feel bad for
yeah,
them.
they're getting
And you're
bats
like,
and knocking their leg off, and
yeah,
like, dude.
right, yeah.
But also, it would also suck because they'd be doing manual labor, and then those people would lose their jobs. So it'd be, I
Mhm.
don't know, I don't know, man. It's fucking
Yeah.
crazy. Would you? Well, the answer is no because you have a significant other, and so do I. But would you look down upon
Mhm.
somebody for having a sex bot that like brought him in? Hey, I'm
No,
bringing over
it's
Cindy. She's a sex bot.
if if it was something like an iris that's so incredibly advanced that you can have like legitimate conversations with and stuff,
Hmm.
I don't know, man. Like, yeah, it'd be weird, but I don't know. I
You
think
probably
if
get
like
over it,
if
right?
but the thing is like if they I think you would get over it, and I think like in time you'd have such like in-depth conversations with them because like literally like she's gonna be like these are like the most advanced robots you can have that I think you would almost forget
Yeah.
in ways in times when you're having conversations with them. And like I think most people probably wouldn't even tell you, right? They would just bring this person over and you wouldn't even
Hmm.
fucking know, which is I think eventually what's going to happen. Um and then yeah, and then it becomes in our world, in our society, robots will just walk around by
Yeah.
themselves, and you'll be able to conversate with them and stuff. And it's like, and we're definitely heading in that direction. I mean, I have a robot at my supermarket that like. I mean, granted, it doesn't look like an iris, but it fucking walks around and like
Does
goes
it
up and
walk?
down the aisles.
Does it?
No, I mean it's on
Okay.
wheels. No, it's like
Hello,
very,
Joe.
it's like the most like yeah, like basic robot thing ever. But it fucking
Here
his
is
name's
your
Marty,
lube.
and he goes, his name's Marty. They put googly eyes on him, but he
That's
goes up and
funny.
down the aisles and like he lets you know if there's spills, and he like takes inventory and shit like that.
Huh.
Like so, like we're heading in that direction where
Marty.
I mean, if we are getting replaced by we've been getting replaced by robots as a society, obviously for like the past like 30 or 40 years. But eventually, like they'll be like you'll go to a bank and it'll be like you'll see a teller and it'll be a fucking robot and we won't even know the difference. But also, it's like it is our downfall, right? Because it's like these companies are going to replace us with robots. It's going to happen, and we're gonna be fucked. Like so, it's such a weird era where like yeah, robots are great for human
Banging.
interaction, but also like not just begging though, like conversation and like therapy and stuff. Like it is good to have a companion like that for people who are socially awkward. But it's like then you think of like how fucking terrible it could be for like them replacing us, like our
Yeah.
jobs. And essentially it's the downfall because you need to make money, obviously, to live.
Right.
And if you're not fucking making money, like you're gonna have homeless, the rates are gonna rise, and people are raw, which creates crime and shit. So it's fucking scary, man. Like I don't think, and
Then we have
obviously,
to
we're not
develop
gonna see.
RoboCop.
Right. We're not going to see this in our lifetime,
Yeah.
obviously. And RoboCops are the scariest thing, man, because like you see this kid at the end who puts on the police uniform. It essentially becomes like a T-1000 situation, and it's like, man, yeah, like you have police robots. It's like they could be terrifying, right?
Yeah.
Like like because there's no human morality there, but also we've seen the human aspect with policing can be very bad too. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, you can I mean
It's
this
a whole
movie can
conversation.
really you can it really is
Yeah.
like it lends, we can get into we could literally do fucking hours of
Mhm.
conversation with this, which we won't get into. But what'd you
Would
think
you
of the ending? Did you like Iris's ending here? Do you think like I mean, how does she go about? Because she loses her arm, right? Like, so she's armless robot lady. Like, people are gonna know she's a robot. Like,
she's
where does
gonna
she
start
go
the
from
rebellion,
here,
man?
right? I
She's gonna
guess,
start the
yeah.
sex bot rebellion. That's probably that's probably the sequel that no one wants to see.
Right?
She probably honestly gets wrangled up by the corporation and deactivated. If they got
You
tracker in
think
there for
so?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man. That's would you bang Iris as a robot?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
100%. 100%.
Oh man, dude,
I think
I
that's
was into the fucking the whole party at dude. Imagine you have your best friends come over, and they all have robot girlfriends or boyfriends, and everyone just gets
yeah.
along, man. There's no beef.
Yeah.
The girls and guys aren't jealous of each other. They're not care if that guy has bigger biceps than you, and so on and so on. We fucking chill, dude.
Mhm.
I don't know.
For sure.
I'm going back to let's replace humans with robots and just call it a day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm surprised
A,
this
a
director hasn't done
couple
anything
of
else. He's fucking pretty damn good.
Yeah, I know it was from the writers, I believe, of Barbarian. Had something to do with this as well. I think
I see.
I
Well,
read
let me look. Drew Hancock, director, hasn't done anything else
this was his
besides
directorial
shows.
debut.
Yeah, it's fucking legit.
That's impressive. Yeah.
Yep.
I think it was either the producers or the writers of Barbarian had something to do with this. I saw it in the trailer. I remember and being like, "Oh, interesting."
Yeah, and yeah, he wrote this too, so it must have been the producers or something.
Okay, nice.
But yeah,
Cool.
okay,
Yeah, so I got a couple of talking points from Steve here.
okay.
Because he couldn't make it on the episode, but he did watch the movie. We kind of went into this, but he said, "How did you guys feel about them spoiling the end of the movie at the very beginning, where she says she killed him at the start?" Personally, like it didn't bother me, but did that need to be revealed at the very beginning of the movie? Probably not, but it didn't like take me out of it either.
I agree. I agree, and I think that line would have been much better if you didn't know she was a robot yet either. Without the spoils, because then you'd be like, "What the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
what's this girl? Like, she bad?" And then, I think it would have been
Yeah, true.
a better like flow if we didn't know the robot aspect. But I agree. Could be give or take.
Hmm. And then he also said, where do you rank this in the latest AI horror trend? And are you tired of AI themed movies yet?
No, where do I rank it? So we're talking the remake of
I
Chucky,
mean,
probably, and
yeah, right.
um,
Chucky, Ex Machina. I don't. What else come out yet? Subservient.
that
I think
fucking
it was called
doll.
that. Megan Fox one. I don't know if you watched
No,
it,
I
but
didn't. The bitch
oh,
is back
Megan,
doll. Yeah, Megan.
Megan.
Which that trailer fucking. Oh my gosh, awful.
Yeah,
Um. Oh, that's Ex Machina. I think is more sci-fi because I think that's the vibe it goes
yeah,
for. But yeah, I would rate this above the other ones for sure. Better than Child's Play remake. Better than um Megan.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean they're all so different, right? Some are like AI gone wrong, AI gone bad. This one's kind of this one's good, I think, because it's not like AI gone bad, right?
It's
It's
not
kind of
black
like
and white.
humans
Yeah,
gone, it's like humans gone bad, and like the AI is sort of there, and what does it do? Which I thought was cool. So yeah, for me, like Ex Machina is like one of my favorite movies like ever. Honestly, like
oh, nice.
I think it's probably like one of the best AI robot movies like ever made. I
It's
fucking
great.
love it so much. So as far as like stuff that's come out in the past decade, that is to me top tier. But this is definitely in that second tier for
Mhm.
me. I really really enjoyed it. So yeah,
Yeah.
and are you tired? I'm not tired of the AI theme. I love AI and robot like horror sci-fi type movies. I think they're always so interesting. It always lends interesting things, even if it's not the best. So yeah, and our boy Damien just made one
Oh
actually,
yeah.
called
When do you
Black
make
Eyed Susan. It's called
Black Eyed
Black Eyed
Susan?
Susan, about like a sex robot
Oh,
type thing.
sex robot,
So
super hot right
yeah.
now.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm not tired of it. I'm all for it.
Yeah,
The more the merrier for me at this point until I get sick of them.
yeah. There's got to be some
Striking
serious.
Vipers.
I'll play
Does that
Striking
count?
Vipers with you. Yeah. Um, there's got to be some serious cleaning mechanisms for these fucking robot vaginas and wieners, man. Got to be
Yeah,
some
well they said
serious.
I mean they have like yeah, because like we see the company come out and like obviously like I like too like that he didn't know that it had like he thought he could shoot it her in the heart or something, was it?
I thought he
Or
shot
like
her
in
in
the
the head.
head.
Yeah.
But like yeah, in the head, but like the thing was in her heart or something and
Yeah,
like
her
so like
computer brain was in her
yeah.
heart. Yeah.
Yeah, her could like yeah. So like yeah, like I like that they could like download it and like watch back like literally everything. Like so you are being recorded, which is the other thing. It's like you obviously you're being recorded at all times, just like
That is
how they
sketchy.
say Alexa. Well, they say like Alexa's listening to you
She
even when she's
100%
not
is
on. So right. So like
because
a lot of
there's
people like, you know,
this
just
isn't
like how like no,
go
go
do it,
for
do
it.
it. No, 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 do it. Finish your thought.
I was gonna say, like, I mean, it's like just like how they say, like, even if your laptop's not on, but it's like they can look at you through your camera or like your phone, like they're looking
Mhm.
at you through your camera and your phone and shit, which I 100% believe.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I think it's been proven.
There's no reason that I'll be looking for a laptop on my computer and then it shows up on my Instagram fucking feed. I'm like, there's no
Right,
fucking way because they're not linked. But yeah,
right.
they're always listening. But that would be another aspect that'd be fucked up though. because someone would leak like you banging the fucking robot in like a princess
Right.
costume or something, So that would suck. But oh, I think you touched on it briefly, but it was a really tension-filled scene where Jack Quaid makes the gay robot dress as the cop that he killed to
Yeah.
pretend that he's a
Yep.
real officer when the technicians arrive, which I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That was
pretty wild.
great. Yeah. Very T1000 situation. It was awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. I don't know. What we got? Anything else? I
I'm
think
good. I didn't
we
take
pretty
any
much
notes on
covered
this. Yeah.
everything. I think. Yeah. Yeah. And man, I remember that. Like, I saw this movie like almost like 2 months ago at this
Jeez.
point, and it's like I
Stuck with you.
remember it. I remember it so vivid. Yeah, it did, which is a good thing. I remember it so vividly. I was gonna rewatch it and I just ran out of time, but yeah, man, it's a good one. All right, so let's get into rating this sucker. I'll start us off, man. Yeah, man, I right now this is my favorite of the year, like horror wise, anyway. Like I think so far it hasn't been a great year for horror. Not a lot has come out. It's still very early in the year. It's always like with horror, it's always sort of the back end of the year, sort
Yeah.
of the bangers sort of tend to come out. But yeah, as of right now, this is definitely my number one of the year. I don't expect it to be my number one of the year. If it is, it would be a very disappointing year in horror. But I still think this is a great movie. I definitely expect it to stay in my top 10. I don't think it's going to leave my top 10. And I give it a 4 out of 5. It's a really solid movie, great performances all around, and it moves at a really brisk pace. Like I was never once like bored. It always keeps sort of the twists and turns going. So yeah, and I definitely would watch this again before the end of the year.
Yeah, 100%. Currently my top number one. I have it a 4 out of 5 as well. I think it would have been better, man, if I didn't know that twist going in, but I can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to say I can't fault it for it because it's not
hmm
its fault that it was spoiled, but it still sucks that it was. 4 out of 5, acting's awesome. This movie cost 10 mil and made 36, so pretty good
Pretty good.
success. Yeah,
Solid.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
for sure. Awesome. And then Steve also gave it a 4 out of 5. So 4 out of 5s around the board.
Nice.
His quick thoughts on it. He said, I won't spoil the twists, but I have seen a lot of movies lately with similar themes, and this one is the best of them. Sophie Thatcher puts in an incredible performance, and the supporting cast is great as well. I also love the constant twists that kept the story from getting stale. I do wish they leaned into the horror a bit more, though. The flashbacks, while mostly effective, made the film feel a bit like a Family Guy episode. I didn't get that, but my biggest gripe is that it kind of spoils the ending right at the beginning, a trend I really hate in some recent films. Overall, I really enjoyed the film and would rewatch it one day. Side note, shout out to Matt McCarthy from the Video Garage. That was a cool surprise. Not familiar with the
Not
reference.
familiar with that either, so must be a
Yeah, he'll
YouTuber
have.
or something.
Yeah, I assume so. But yeah, so yeah, 3, 4 out of 5s across the board. So yeah, I think we all really enjoyed this one. But
Go
what do our
see it.
friends over at Letterboxd have to say about this one? Also, pretty damn good over on Letterboxd. Currently sitting at 3.5 out of 5 over on Letterboxd. So a really solid average. Everyone really seems to be enjoying this one. I know Sam really loved this one as well when we went and saw it in theaters. And yeah, I haven't heard really a bad thing from anyone that has seen it. Like everyone in my friends list, the lowest rating is a 4. And I have some people gave it a 5.
Oh, very
So
good.
this one very highly regarded amongst horror fans right now, which is great.
Cool.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I think that is going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Don't forget, stick around for our interview with Jeff DePaoli, the founder of Wicked New England, which is going to be a halfway to Halloween event in Salem, Massachusetts, Saturday, May 3rd. All details in the interview. But yeah, I'll be there hosting some of the panels and stuff for the Horror Squad podcast. So it should be a good time. So if you're in the area, drop by, shop the vendors. Sam will be vending it as well. So go and buy some Halloween stuff and celebrate. All right. That's it. Next week, we got Donnie Darko, ladies and gentlemen, which I think was selected by one of our perks. So one of our contributors to the final episode, I think, picked this one, if I'm not mistaken. Steve will have to remind us next week. Todd, you look like you're in thought.
I didn't even think we were doing Donnie Darko next week.
Yeah,
I thought it was Dead
yeah.
Ringers.
I didn't know either, but according to Steve,
Hey,
in
Steve's
the messages,
the glue
he's
here.
he's the boss.
Yeah.
Steve's the boss. So he said that we were doing Donnie Darko next week. If
All
something
right. Cool.
changes, join our Discord. We'll always update you on there. But in the meantime, I think we're doing Donnie Darko next week. In the meantime, you can keep up with the podcast: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast. You can email us anytime, the Horror Squad Podcast at gmail.com. But of course, the absolute best way to keep up with the podcast is our Discord, which I just mentioned. Completely free to join. It's linked over on our Instagram, or you can send us an email or a DM wherever, and we will get you a link to join that Discord movie club every single month that Steve hosts. Usually the last Friday of the month is when he does it, although I think he may have changed it since he's on vacation. But it could be coming up this Friday. I don't know. We'll keep you updated on that, though. And yeah, merch, tpublic.com, the Horror Squad Podcast, if you'd like to support the podcast that way, or leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. And do not forget, if you'd like to support the final episode, our upcoming film, we are still accepting donations. If you'd like to throw a little money our way, it's linked over on our Instagram. I think it's also linked on our trailer. If you haven't watched our teaser trailer yet that Steve put together, you can head over to our YouTube channel, the Horror Squad Podcast, and check out the teaser trailer for the final episode. So that's it, folks. Don't forget, once again, stick around for our interview with Jeff DePaoli, and we'll see you next week for Donnie Darko. See ya.
Bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad Podcast, where today we are joined by a very special guest. He is the creator of the upcoming Wicked New England Halfway to Halloween Festival, which will be taking place Saturday, May 3rd in Salem, Massachusetts. Please welcome the founder, Jeff DePaoli. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us today. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So why don't you start off by telling our listeners a little bit about the event and what they can expect from it?
Yeah, so Wicked New England grew out of this thing. I grew up in New England. I grew up 20 minutes from Salem, spent the first 24 years of my life there. And, Halloween has, for a very long time, genuinely been my favorite day of the year. I know a lot of people say that, but I'm being, it gets me emotional how much I love Halloween when the day comes. It's just a different vibe, and I call it the no obligations holiday. It's the day that people who are very close tight a lot of times will let loose, and they just allow themselves that. And I just love that about it. So, loving Halloween so much, I've made it part of my year-round life. I've been working on events for a while here in Southern California, but I always thought to myself, I'm like, well, New England has some of the most amazing Halloweens. You can't fake that foliage and that chill in the air. And sometimes, yeah, unfortunately, that nasty rain. But there's just something about the climate of New England that, it's no accident when we watch Halloween movies and specials, a lot of them take place in New England or somewhere with a very similar climate because it's just part of the holiday. So I always wanted to celebrate that about New England and really put on an event that would celebrate it and give fans a chance to celebrate the best day of the year, outside of the typical season, therefore halfway to Halloween.
Excellent. Now, obviously, you mentioned you're a massive fan of Halloween. Has that been a case since childhood, or was there a specific moment or time that made you fall in love with the holiday?
I've always loved the holiday. I grew up in Woburn, Massachusetts, which, if your listeners don't know, in Woburn, they have a Halloween parade.
That's
the
right.
Sunday before Halloween. And it's just been part of my childhood. It's been part of my existence since I existed. And it was always such a big day for me, that Sunday before Halloween. And sometimes Halloween would land on the Sunday and it would actually be the day of. And so I loved that growing up. I loved trick-or-treating. I do remember the big question moment for me was, when do I stop trick-or-treating and start entertaining people at my house? And I remember that being a really big question for me. And then finally one year I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to stop trick-or-treating. I am willing to forego the candy in order to entertain people doing spooks at my house. And literally I got a paper out, and the first thing I ever purchased. The first large purchase I ever made with the money from the paper out was a fog machine.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, this is happening. So was there a specific moment? I don't recall a specific moment of being like, this is the greatest day of the year, but it's always just kind of been there for me as like a really, really important holiday.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all of our listeners can attest to that. I think horror and Halloween definitely goes hand in hand. Are you a horror fan yourself? Does that happen? Because I know I have met people who
Yeah.
are like just Halloween fans, and they don't really get into the horror.
And that's what I love about Halloween. And if to answer your question, yes, I am a big horror fan. I always say as a kid, the thing that made me a horror fan was Are You Afraid of the Dark on
Yes.
Nickelodeon. And then as like a teenager, Scream was really a big deal for me. And those are kind of the two. Now, those are the two touch points for me as far as horror is
Mhm.
concerned. But the thing I love about Halloween is that you don't need to be into horror to enjoy it. And I'm really working hard at bringing that kind of idea to this festival as well, because I hate it when people say I don't like Halloween. Sure, there are
Yeah.
some people who don't like it for religious purposes, or whatever. But I'm like, in general, everybody loves Halloween because if you don't like horror, guess what? You like candy. If you don't like candy, you like costumes. If you don't like costumes, you like jack-o'-lanterns. There's like something about the holiday that everybody can find and just lean into the thing that you love. And like I said, it's the no obligations holiday. You are not obligated to like horror to be a fan of Halloween.
Yeah.
And so with the event, I'm really want like people to recognize this is for all ages. Now, will there be scary things? Sure, there will be, but this is not a haunted house. It's the point is not to jump scare people. But yes, there will be some imagery around perhaps that some kids might not like. But I'll tell you, I go to a lot of these Halloween events and work on a lot of them. And sometimes it's the 6-year-olds that are braver than the 12-year-olds, and it really just comes down from person to person and also your upbringing and stuff. But yeah, I love the season and I am indeed a horror fan.
Nice. Now where did you obviously Halloween, massive holiday, but it seems like really within the last, I would say 5 years, the Halloween fad has really blown up, and now we are starting to see these halfway to Halloween celebrations, and festivals. So I guess, where did the inspiration, or where did sort of the light bulb go off for you to be like, I want to make this halfway to Halloween festival?
Yes, so there were a couple things here in Southern California. Like there is literally every weekend of the year some horror or
Mhm.
Halloween pop up, like literally every weekend of the year. And halfway to Halloween, therefore, is a big deal. You see even more of them come around when halfway to Halloween pops up. And I knew I wanted to do something to celebrate what New England had to offer because just in my research, I couldn't find anything that was there's a tons of great Halloween offerings in New England, but
Mhm.
something that was celebrating it off season and really just kind of trying to bring like-minded people together to celebrate it off season, I couldn't find. And
Mhm.
so I was like, well, halfway to Halloween's the best time to do it, in my opinion. You don't want to do it during the season because this is really meant to let people, it's kind of like a sneak preview of what
Sure.
the season will offer and also kind of fill that need or that itch for something Halloweeny when it's off season. And then, of course, when you're thinking, where in New England are you going to launch this thing? Salem, Massachusetts just
Yes.
makes sense.
Of course, which brings me to my next question. Obviously, Salem, Massachusetts, known as the Halloween capital of the world to most people. I know you've done other events in Salem previously. What is it about Salem that makes it so special and that you continuously want to come back? I mean, I know obviously being a person from New England, I'm sure that's a big part of it. I mean, but do you have memories of visiting Salem as a child, or was it something? Because me personally, I'm also from Massachusetts. I actually didn't go to Salem much as a child, and it became more of a thing to me as an adult. But what's your story with it?
I definitely remember going as a kid, but it wasn't super often. Whereas now, as an adult, whenever
Yeah.
I'm back in Massachusetts like 2 or 3 times a year visiting family because
Hmm.
everybody's still there. Whenever I'm home, I'm like, oh, I got to swing by Salem for at least a day.
Hmm.
So now that I can drive myself and I'm not just a kid relying on other people, it's definitely a place that I visit regularly whenever I'm back east now. And the first event that I produced in Salem was very specific to where this event's taking place. It's Old Town Hall
Hmm.
in Salem, and this was seen in the film Hocus Pocus, and I threw a big Hocus Pocus party there at the shooting location from the film, which was a lot of fun. But one of the difficulties with Salem, honestly, was when I, Salem's a great place to launch something like this, but they don't have a ton of large spaces.
Yeah,
It's kind of a problem.
it is.
And I was looking around and searching around, and, number one, the cost to rent the space obviously comes into the equation. And then the size of the space. And Old Town Hall just kind of hit those two marks for me. And I was like, I think this is the perfect place to launch Wicked New England. And, one thing I keep telling people is like, this is not Wicked Salem. This is not Wicked Massachusetts. This is Wicked New England.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'm really, really proud of is we really have representation from all around New England and even beyond. Some of our vendors are coming from New York and Pennsylvania. And we have haunts being represented in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. And it's really all over the place. And I love that about it because I know that this space is used for markets and stuff year round, and nothing against them, but they are very local, I feel like. And I was like, they don't need another one of those.
Sure.
So that's really what I want to bring to it. And I'm excited. But the vendors that have signed up, with the haunts that are taking part in either photo ops or panels, the monsters that are coming, really all over New England.
Yeah. Now, I mean, and I think this is also a great opportunity for people who don't want to come to Salem in October.
Yeah.
Obviously that's when the Halloween is sort of at its peak, but it's great that you're bringing an event, sort of I guess I would say this is the beginning of the tourist season, but not really. Like, it doesn't really start picking up, I would say, until August is when you start to see more people start coming in. But it's great for people that don't want to have to deal with driving around 3 hours to find parking and whatnot. So this is a perfect opportunity for people to come and experience Salem without all of sort of the stress and anxiety that September and October can bring. Now, obviously, this is the first year for this event, the inaugural. So, what is your vision for the event in the future? Do you see this becoming a annual event for you? Do you see this staying in Salem? Would you like to branch out? Obviously, you mentioned Wicked New England. So, what is your vision for the future for this event?
Sure, it definitely is something I would like to do annually. It
Hmm.
really depends on if people show up, right? I can say that the buzz has, like, literally everybody I mention it to is like, "Oh, thank God we need this," is usually the response. And I'm like, "That's great." And honestly, for me, I'm always just shocked that something like this doesn't already exist.
Hmm.
So I do think it's filling a need. I hope the response by people coming to the event shows that. And if that is indeed the case, the plan is for it to be annual. My hope is for it to outgrow Salem. As I just mentioned, the space is an issue for
Sure.
Salem. And I would really hope that it becomes something bigger, that it's like, you know what, need to go beyond Salem. So, year one, we're in Salem, Massachusetts. Year two, perhaps we will be. Year three, hopefully we've outgrown it. We'll
Mhm.
see.
All right. Yeah, indeed we will. What would you say is the most exciting aspect of the event, for you personally? And what do you think the attendees that will be coming will be most excited to see?
To me, the most exciting thing is the representation from all over New England. Sorry,
Hmm.
not meaning to beat a dead horse, but
Sure.
like that's what's exciting to me, because that was a fear of mine, right? Like, I recognize that vendors taking part in a first year event is somewhat risky.
Hmm.
And the fact that so many people from so far have been like, yes, let's do this, is really exciting. And I'm really proud of that. Guests should be excited because I think it's something that you can maybe answer this better than me, but I don't think something like this has existed in this location. There have been lots of vendor markets, but
Sure.
this is beyond a vendor market. There's the vendor market. There is, we're going to use the stage in there for presentations, which you will be hosting some of and
Mhm.
moderating. So I'm excited for that. But, Barrett's Haunted Mansion in Massachusetts is a fantastic haunt. They're going to come. They're bringing some of their monsters. They're creating a photo op for guests. They're going to do a presentation on stage. I just got word. When is this episode releasing?
Friday.
Okay, I just got word that Spooky World will be taking part, which,
Mm.
growing up in New England, now they're in New Hampshire. Growing up in New England, that Spooky World has been always been such a big part of it. So I'm excited to
Yeah.
have them. So, the vendors, the panels, the monsters, and then we're creating a little art gallery with some of our vendors who do
Mhm.
beautiful photography and such. And yeah, I'm just very, very excited for it.
Yeah, me too. And I agree. It is definitely something different than, there have been several vendor markets at Old Town Hall, but I love that you're sort of trying to bring in something different with the panels and, monsters will be roaming around and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be super fun. Everyone, you definitely do not want to miss it. Jeff, it's been a pleasure. I got one final question for you, though.
Sure.
Simple, but fun. Favorite Halloween movie?
Favorite Halloween. Okay, so this is an interesting question because I do a podcast, not to plug, but plug
No, go
that
for it.
it's called That Halloween Podcast. And
Mhm.
if I may, this started, I've been podcasting since 2014 about Disney. I'm a big Disney fan, and I've been podcasting about that on Disney Coast to Coast. But in 2020, when the world shut down and everybody was like, oh, Halloween's canceled. I was like, oh, hell no. You do not cancel Halloween. It's not possible. It's not going to
Right.
happen. So I was like, how can we do this safely? And one of the things, I've always been a huge fan of like Halloween specials, like Garfield's Halloween Adventure and Great Pumpkin and all that stuff. And so I decided to create a podcast that was about celebrating Halloween movies and specials. And the reason I mention this is because you said, what's your favorite Halloween movie?
Mhm.
And I'm very specific about Halloween movie, not
Right.
scary movie, because on my podcast, the rule is this needs to be about and or take place during Halloween in
Yep.
order to even be discussed on my podcast. So when you ask that question, can I pick two? I really have a
Yes.
top
Yeah, no,
two.
go for it.
And these are like very equal footing in my opinion. Hocus Pocus and Trick or Treat, I think, are both phenomenal.
Yeah.
And once again, they both very much lay heavily into the New England aesthetic.
Yes.
I forget exactly where Trick or Treat is supposed to take place. I forget what city it is, but regardless, it looks like a New England Halloween wherever it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, you'll notice in the artwork and stuff I've had done for Wicked New England, there are a lot of leaves. And that was like a mandate. I was like, listen, when I think New England Halloween, I'm thinking dead leaves,
Definitely.
foliage. We need to work this into the artwork. And so Hocus Pocus and Trick or Treat, aside from just being great movies, I love how much they lay heavily into the New England feeling of it all. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. I mean, Hocus Pocus for me, growing up as a child, I think absolute staple. And yeah, Trick or Treat, perfect. Like Sam has become an icon, to the horror genre and to Halloween fans. I mean, you go into a Spirit Halloween now, and Sam is everywhere. It's crazy. It's amazing, which I love. And there's supposed to be a sequel coming very, very soon. I know we've been hearing it for years, but I think it's actually going to be happening. I heard that the script is being written and whatnot.
I was
So
gonna say he's writing it. I know
yeah.
that. Yeah, I know
So
he's writing it. So
hopefully it actually happens, and maybe in the future Quinn Lord can attend a Wicked New England or something. That would be exciting.
that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I do
Um.
want to mention,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, you
Yeah.
said
No,
that this
please.
episode's probably coming out on Friday, March
Yep.
28th. Folks, that means there's a few days left to get your early bird tickets. They are the lowest price they're going to be right now. That's going to change on April 1st. They're going to go up a little bit in price. So if you're hearing this when it first comes out, make sure you head to wickednewengland.info, info, not .com, .info, and get those tickets at the lowest price you can.
There you go. You already beat me to it, Jeff. I was going to ask you where can
Oh,
people find the website and whatnot, but where else can they follow you? Do you have the you mentioned the podcast, your personal social media if you'd like to plug that. Anything you'd like to plug, go for it right now.
right now, I'd love to just plug Wicked New England. So also on Instagram at wicked_New England. And that's where you can find us on Instagram, there on the website. And on the website, you can sign up for the newsletter. So really, I know a lot of people have been reaching out, honestly, really constantly asking to be a vendor at the
Mm.
event. And unfortunately, it's like been sold out for a very long time, the vendor
Yeah.
spots. So I just keep telling people who are interested in that, follow on Instagram at wicked_New England, or head to wickednewengland.info and you can sign up for like the newsletter there. And when time comes to sign up for future events, for vendors, that's where you can do that. It's also where you can learn more and get tickets.
Perfect. Once again, everyone, thank you so much, Jeff DePaoli, founder of Wicked New England. Do not forget, everyone, please come out, support this first-time event in Salem, Massachusetts on Saturday, May 3rd. I'll be there. Like Jeff mentioned, I'll be hosting panels for the Horror Squad podcast. We'll be hosting with some of the local hot vendors, I believe, and whatnot, right?
Some haunted houses and the Halloween New England. Actually, if I may, I want to mention the sponsors real quickly. So Witch City Walking Tours is the official event sponsor. They've been really great over at Witch City Walking Tours. They are located like right next to Old Town Hall. So I'll just tell you, this event is from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Book yourself a tour while you're in Salem. They do great work, and they're the event sponsor. And then as a promotional sponsor of the event, I have Halloween New England. And if you don't know HalloweenNewEngland.com, oh my gosh, you need to learn it. And they will be there as well, talking about it and doing a panel. And it's just a great directory. And the person who runs it, her name's Alexandra. She's phenomenal. And she is just meticulous about making sure things are current and up to date. Like, I've never seen somebody who runs a source like that so on top of dates changing or prices changing or whatever. Even with Wicked New England, she's always like, okay, so what's the ticket right now? When does that, that early bird price change? Yada, yada. Like, she's on it. So it's a great resource.
Excellent. Once again, everyone, we'll keep plugging this. wickednewengland.info for all information. Saturday, May 3rd, halfway to Halloween Festival. What could be better? You cannot miss it. Come out. Support Jeff, support the event, because without your guys' support, this event will not happen in the following year. So you need to come out. You need to support this event. So please do it. Once again, Saturday, May 3rd, in the Halloween capital of the world, Salem, Massachusetts. Do it. Jeff, thank you so much. We'll see you at the event.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.